Good morning, everybody. It's usual that I put up a show on Sunday, but I got enough emails about people asking about some of the comments made on a conference call. And I'm not going to point their names out or anything like that because I respect these people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with their research or their opinions or anything else, even though it may be different from mine. But the issue came up to where that Iraq doesn't have to they don't have an agreement with the United States and honor our dinar. Well, the fundamental flaw in all of this type of thinking, it has nothing to do what country you're in or what law you're under. Iraq put out through the Central Bank of through the CBI, they put out a money supply. And it doesn't matter if the money supply is counted in Iraq and then, Iceland or Canada or whatever. They had to have legal permission to print the money. And then the CBI is the one who actually issues the value behind it. So it's kind of like a separation of powers. So the CBI by itself literally cannot print new money. That's why they had to go through Parliament. So, and here's these guys. We've gone through this before. A few years ago, people talked about this. It was like, well, there's really no law on the books. It has nothing to do with any law on the books. They can't print a certain amount of currency and then add value to it and then cut it off, that value because it's in a different country. There's either that money's there or it's not. So it's very weird thinking. It's almost laughable. They're actually, again, what did I tell people? You're sitting right in the middle of the fence, right? What's the most important thing here? Us buying dinar or them buying dollars with the dinar? You see what I mean? They're buying dollars with their dinar. So, and guess what? Let's say that we're at war with Iraq. Well, it's not going to, there's no law that says Iraqis can't buy our currency. There's no special law out there. And there's no law that says that we can't cash it in one way or the other. So, the process is going to go, if we're, blessed enough to where this thing comes along and it revalues, we go cash in at the bank gets their cut, and it trickles back to the CBI. But, that it's all legal tender. They can't stop it. So like, oh, where's it coming from? United States? We don't have to honor that. Yeah, they do have to honor it. They have to honor every single note, no matter where it comes from. That's why when they print the new note, there has to be a time period to where people who have the notes, it doesn't matter. There's no law that says, well, it's I'll be honest with you, it's amateur hour. It's simply amateur hour. Yeah. You can't cash out unless you go to Iraq. Okay, well, here's a little thought. Why can't I give a major banking institution my dinar? They get a cut, and they take the dinar to Iraq and cash it in, because that's how it works right now. What do you think? That I come from Brazil and I have some of their currency left over. I don't fly back down to Brazil and cash it in. I just exchange it at the bank. Bank gets a cut. And guess what? They exchange it with Brazil, and it goes right back to their central bank in Brazil. So, like I said, there's fundamental flaws here that these guys, I'm sure they're not trying to swindle anybody or anything like that, but it simply doesn't make sense. I mean, you literally cannot stop anybody from any country from buying their currency, and then if there's an institution willing to exchange it, they're not going to honor. Iraq's not going to honor if a bank came in with the dinar. No, we don't need that. We don't have to cash that in. Well, they're going to lose out then, aren't they? It doesn't make, none of it makes any sense. None of it makes any sense. And they are under guidance, and they're under guidance from the IMF, their International Monetary Fund. And International Monetary Fund is international. Okay, so they are under the steps under the International Monetary Fund, and they're not going to say, well, we understand the position you're in. Everybody in Iraq gets to exchange, and that money counts, but the dinar outside of the country doesn't count, because the Iraqi or the IMF has currency, Iraq currency, it's in Connecticut and New York, and they'd be under the same situation you and I are in. So none of it makes sense. So you can believe what you want. Like I said, I'm trying to be nice. I know these some of these guys, but you can believe what you want. Now, I'm putting my argument out there why I think it's absolutely ridiculous. You can believe what you want, and that's what it's all about, right? Freedom. But that's all I wanted to say, everybody. And there's another article out there talking about how it's never going to revalue, and it's just it's just ridiculous. That's exactly what they need to do in Iraq is revalue, and they've been talking about how they're going to add value to their currency, how they're going to basically be par with the rest of the world, try to get to close to the dollars they can, and that's it. How they get there and how much we make is it's yet to be seen, but they're going to do it. And, so that's what we're trying to position ourselves. That's what we're trying to educate ourselves, right? You start create, I don't think anybody has a problem, creating the value creation story for Iraq. It's just, what platform are you going to be on, when this stuff comes to play, and how much you're going to make. That's all it is. I think everybody, even these loppers, they understand their value. It just, maybe they're a little hesitant to pull the trigger on the currency, but, and they invest somewhere else. That's fine, but that's all it is. They're going to add value to their currency. How long it takes and how they ladder it, how they do it, we don't know. And that's why you ladder your risks. So it just, but this idea that, you won't be able to cash your currency in, and that's the reason banks in America, don't sell it, is hogwash. Because banks in America are on the auction floor in Iraq buying and selling dinar every day. It might not be every bank in the United States, but the reality is that they're doing it, and they have to follow the laws from the IMF. Iraq has to follow the laws from IMF. They have to honor the currency that they put out there, and they use dinars, Iraqi dinars, under their system, under their value system that they have through the CBI, to buy dollars, to buy euros, to buy all this stuff. So it's it's full circle, and so they have no intent on pulling anything like that. And just remember this: a lot of people ask me, about all the dinar sloshing around in America and in Iraq. It doesn't matter where it's at, and that's the point. They have a certain amount of dinar. And, they're reducing the money supply and all that stuff. Let's say they're not. It doesn't matter. There's a certain amount of dinar out there, and they don't care where it's at. If it's some, it's like, well, what about, is it devaluing because all these Americans have it? Well, they're not printing more. They're going to print new currency, but it doesn't matter. They have a magic number, and that's it. If some of it goes to America, and you have to think, it's like, well, that's got to be bad for them. No, it's not bad for them, because they took those dollars that they used dinar to buy dollars. They took those dollars, they put them in their reserve. So that's how that works. So it's full circle. Like I said, once you understand how finances or these financial systems and institutions work and how they're engineered, you don't have these types of problems. And by the way, legitimate concerns for people who don't know. That's why I'm not beating them up. You know what I mean? They just simply don't know. But I don't need to go to Iraq. Let's say it revalues and they did pass. I can go to Singapore and exchange it. I can go, you could always find someone to exchange it with. So, like I said, there's going to be major institutions, worst case scenario, major institutions who have access to Iraq, like Bank of America, and they'll take your dinar. And they're in Iraq. They'll exchange it. They have electronic systems set up to where they can exchange it. So it's none of that stuff means anything to me. It's legitimate questions for people that But if you sit there and you look at how it's structured, so how can they stop me from cashing in exchanging with somebody who can cash it in Iraq? It was all going that way anyways as they reduce the money supply. So just something to think about. Again, it's up to you. That's all up to you. But I don't have any fear of it. And I know these these guys who are buying dinar from Iraq and selling it on the American streets, who use dollars to buy the dinar in the first place, they understand it. And so that's just where I'm at. But I hope that answers people's questions. And a lot of people, they get a little bit of anxiety because someone throws a little curveball or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You guys are going through a learning curve. But that's it, everybody. That's the article that came out where it said it's never going to revalue. You know what I think. That's a bunch of garbage. And you know what the CBI thinks. This idea that they're not going to revalue, or I'm sorry, they're not going to cash your dinar because it's all going to be in country. Well, they shouldn't have sold their dinar for dollars and everything else then. And that's that. So, they basically they're being held accountable by the IMF, and they screw up. They go to the BIS, and these guys are not going to try to pull that type of stuff. They're trying to open up their borders and try to be efficient because of that formula that I keep telling you guys: supply times velocity. And to do that, they're not going to screw the whole world of the dinar that they sold them. They took their currency and said, oh, by the way, the currency that we use to buy your currency, yeah, no, it's no longer valid. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Yeah, some little law on the central bank's website. If you really look really close, you can see what their evil intent here. No, it's garbage. It's garbage. Anyways, everybody, just a short show. I just wanted to throw my thoughts out there on that stuff. So, hope you all have a good rest of the weekend. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon.